Math is everywhere. It's in the movement of stars and planets, and modeled by Galileo and Copernicus to optimize their telescopes. It's in how we build buildings and construct your house. It helps us make sure that the trains arrive on time. You can get from point A to point B as fast as possible. It's in how water flows down a stream, and it's the basis of so many things that we study at the University of British Columbia. For me, it tells me how populations evolve. So I think we live in a really exciting time for biology because never before have we had this much genetic data or had so many interesting questions to answer with it. So I'm Aline McPherson, and I'm a biologist here at the Biodiversity Research Center. I use mathematics to understand how populations evolve, in particular how hosts and parasites co-evolve with one another. So every sea species shares in common the fact that they have a parasite. So you might be a buffalo in South Africa infected with rinderpest, or you might be a cow infected with tuberculosis, or a human infected with HIV. But you all have the same problem. You are infected with a pathogen, and that pathogen has big consequences on whether you survive. As a result, that pathogen has huge consequences on how you evolve over time. One of the first steps in studying host-parasite coevolution is to figure out which genes make one host more susceptible to infection than another host. So the ideal way to study this would be to take every possible host and infect them with every possible pathogen and ask which combinations of host genotypes and pathogen genotypes are most susceptible to infection. But doing an experiment like this isn't practical, and it certainly isn't ethical in many systems. So biologists have to get around this by collecting huge data sets and finding statistical associations between which host genotypes are infected by which pathogen genotypes. But in order to do this, they have to have very good statistical methods. So as a mathematician, I can help them develop statistical methods that take into account how hosts and parasites co-evolve with one another. So if we are able to build these better statistical methods, we can find genetic variants that make one host less susceptible to infection than another. For example, hosts that humans that carry one gene called the CCR5 gene are less susceptible to infection by HIV than humans that don't have that gene. And so if we could find more genes like that CCR5 gene, we might be able to build better vaccines that help people avoid infection.